Everyone, Spike here. Today we are going to do something that I have never done before, and that is change the spark plugs in my car. I've never had to go this deep into my vehicle before. So I figured since I am doing stuff myself, why not do this? So I had to do a lot of research to see how to do it, and now I'm going to try it myself. So what we're going to do is that we're going to get some tools here, and I've laid them all out over here. So what we are going to need a ratchet set, which is, you're also going to need a special spark plug socket, and I'll explain why a little later. Of course you're going to need spark plugs, and I got 4 spark plugs for my car. These are NGK Iridium spark plugs. You're going to need a flathead screwdriver for this car. Your car may not need it, but for me, I do need a flathead screwdriver. You're going to need some dielectric grease for the spark plugs when we install them. And sometimes you may want to use a Q-tip. And you're also going to need a torque wrench. And in this case, that is a 3/8 socket. So we got our tools laid out, so we're going to head into the vehicle. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to lay some shop cloth down here. And for this job, we're going to need to take off the oil cap. So I'm going to place this here so no dirt gets on it. And then we're going to need our flathead screwdriver. And just so you know, this is a Chevy Cruze 2018, and this flathead is too big. I'll be right back. Alright, got a proper size well, maybe. It looks like this one's not going to work either. Be right back. Okay, so you know, that nut is a little strange. Let me show you. So that particular screw I'm trying to get out, it's in a triangular shape. And I don't have a nut that has that kind of shape. That is so strange. So we're gonna set this down, and I'm gonna try again with the flathead. Well, I did bring a Phillips with me too, just in case. Can this fit? I don't know if that can fit in there. Let's try the Phillips. That is such a strange nut. Let me try to find something in my stash. I'll be right back. Alright, so I got my Milwaukee set out here, and I'm just going to try each one without turning them, just to see if they fit. Actually, maybe. It looks like it's the T25 that needs to go in. So let me get my ratchet. I'll be right back. Yeah, I don't know why they had to make it like that, but at least we figured it out. So now we can... Man, they really put that on there. But we finally got it off. And see how far this goes. Trying to be careful not to lose it. Now we can screw the rest of the way by hand. Put it on our little table here, and then we can take this off. I swear they don't make this easy. I know it wants to come off, but it seems like there's a couple of places where it doesn't want to. Let's see. Like down here, I think there's something holding it down. Got that. I think it's this one too. These may be snap-ons. There we go, we got it off. Alright, now we'll take the cover off. As remember, we gotta put some gloves on for this part. Now is where we're getting into the nitty-gritty here. I have never gone this deep into an engine before. Let me get my other glove on. Simple rubber glove, and I struggle to put it on. Yes, I gotta aim not to sweat into the engine compartment. I'm gonna take this this insulation off. This is there we go. Alright, so we've taken the noise canceling insulation off, and now we can see the inside of the engine, and those four things here, those are the ignition boots. That's where the electricity goes to light up your spark plug. So first thing we gotta do, we gotta disconnect the electrical connection. So there's a little red tab there, we're gonna pull that off. Alright, there's one. There should be a release in here somewhere. There should be a release there somewhere. Get that off. Each of these are supposed to have a thing where it releases as we try to get the rest of them off, because it's supposed to slide right out. So we're gonna get the rest of those locks off. I think I may need to use my little screwdriver here. I'm going to get the flathead out. There's that one. Okay, so now, like I said, I gotta find the release point in which it lets go from the ignition boot. Yeah, there's supposed to be a release somewhere. Be right back. I had to change a glove because the one on my left hand broke. It's, like I said, there should be a release point somewhere. Because the thing said that there was a release tab, if I can find it. Well, I think I finally figured it out. What I did was that I used the flathead screwdriver, pushed it in, and then pulled it out. Alright, so we finally figured that out. Let me see if I can do it again, because I have to move this boot as well. Alright, finally got that one off. Okay, so we're going to hold right there, and now we're going to work on getting the ignition boots off. I'm going to set this to loosen. I'm going to make sure that the socket goes on there. No, it does not. I need a bigger one. Right, let's see if 12 millimeter works. A little too big. Got to go down to 11. Alright, see, that works this time. Yep, so now we can get this ignition boot off. Alright, let's see if this slides off. Oh, it's not ready to come out yet. Still not ready to come out yet, but I can loosen it the rest of the way by hand. Maybe. See, it wants to come out. Try not to sweat so much, and now we can pull the ignition out. There we go. All right. So that ignition boot is out, and now we can finally get into the spark plug. But for that, I am going to need an extension. I'll be right back. Okay, for this part, we are going to need an extension bar so we can reach down there. But before we do, just to make sure that there's no debris in there, we're gonna try to get some compressed air and clean that out, because we don't want any of that dirt going into the piston. So now that we clean that out, now we're going to put in our spark plug adapter. If it'll go in. Come on, you. Oh, I know why it is. I should have known that it was a quick release. So make sure it's on loosen. We're going to reach down there, get into the spark plug. Well, actually, before I do that, I think it looks like I'm going to need to take out the second ignition boot as well. So I'm going to clean up some stuff here. I'll be right back. Okay, so it looks like we're going to have to take off the second ignition boot as well, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Is it not going on? Hold on a second here. Yeah, I got a feeling that is skirting on top of it. I'll be right back. Alright, that should be a concern if the things are taking different sizes. The previous one I had to use an 11 on. This one I went back down to a 10. Try to get the rest of the way by hand. Now we're doing this because that the spark plugs are installed at an angle and this ignition boot's in the way. So we're gonna take that off. Alright, we should be able to loosen it now. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to make sure to place these in order so I know that they came in on the same. So I know they came in on the same slot. So now we can go in there and reach in for the spark plug. I have to make sure that it does go in there, so I'm going to make sure that it's in there. It's not going on the spark plug. I can feel it too. Wish it wasn't so hot out here so that I wouldn't sweat so much. Gotta make sure it fits around the spark plug. Come on. Don't tell me that it doesn't fit. Oh, this is so infuriating. My spark plug adapter does not fit. So I have to go out and get a smaller one. So let me borrow another car, get to the store, and I'll be right back. Well, I found out that that spark plug is actually a metric measurement and it takes 14 millimeters. Unfortunately, no auto part shop in town has a 14 millimeter spark plug socket, so we're gonna have to do this a different way. So instead what I'll do is that I will use the 14 millimeter regular socket and then use the spark plug socket to get it out. Are you kidding me? Great! Okay, so let me explain what happened here, and I am in such a bad mood right now. But here's what happened. So what I tried to do was use a 14 millimeter socket that was not meant for spark plugs, and used it on my quick release extension bar. Then what happened was that as soon as it hit the spark plug, it pushed the button and the socket fell into the hole. So now I'm in a situation and I'm going around trying to figure out how to get it out. And of course I was feeling miserable that I just stopped the tape and just try to figure it out. But we went to the store and we asked for a tool to, like a magnet to pull out the socket. And what he did was that he gave us what looks like a pen, and it's a telescopic magnet that goes down into deep, narrow spaces. And as soon as I saw that, I realized I have one right here. Now, I've always thought that this was meant to adapt to different bits, because it does have the hex on it. But you see, there's this little thing in the middle here. If I can, whoops, and I just threw it on the floor. So what it is that you pull this out, and I had no idea what this was. I've always saw this being pulled out every time I took a bit out, but I had no idea what this was. This is a magnet. This is a telescopic magnet to pull out things they may have dropped. Now, it probably was for the best that I did get a new telescopic magnet, because this magnet is not so strong. It is from Harbor Freight. It's inexpensive. I mean, this did get the socket out, but I could feel like it was like on edge. So what I did was that I just said, forget about it. Let's just put the engine back together, everything the way it was, and we'll wait until we get a proper spark plug socket. Now, as I mentioned, when I tried to look up what kind of socket it needed, it gave me two different ones. It gave me 5/8 and it gave me 9/16. Neither of those fit. 5/8 is too big, as it just spins around the spark plug. 9/16 will not even fit, as the ground terminal will hit the back of the socket without fitting in. So what ended up happening was that I did take one of the new spark plugs, took it to the store, and tried it on different sockets, and I found out that particular spark plug is metric. It actually takes a 14 millimeter socket, which is something that our local auto parts stores does not have. So now they do sell metric, they do, but not for spark plug sockets. So that means I gotta order one online, and I'm just gonna have to wait a few days and get the proper socket. So for now, I just put everything back together, and once that new socket gets here, we're gonna go back out there and try again. So I just said, yeah, let's just forget today. This has been a very, very frustrating process. I've hit too many roadblocks, and right now I don't feel like doing any more today. So I'm just going to stop for today. We're going to order the spark plug socket. We'll get it here. We'll try again. Okay, we are a few days later, and I've reset the engine to where we were before I rage quit. Now, I did get the proper spark plug socket, and I made sure this time. This is a 14 millimeter spark plug socket, so we're going to put it on our quick release extension bar, and we're going to reach in there and get that one spark plug out of there. Now, I have the first two. Gotta break this loose, and now we can get it the rest of the way. I got the first two boots off. This is to make sure that I place the boots exactly where I left them. Alright, can we lift it up? Not yet. Just a little more. Because remember, this is a magnetic socket, so I should be able to pull it up with the magnet that is on that socket. Let's see if I can lift it up now. Nope, not yet. We're getting there though. come up now. Nope, not yet, but I see it coming up. This may take several turns. Did we get it this time? Yep, there it is. So we're gonna take a quick look at the spark plug, and it's actually looking pretty good. You know, you can see where there is carbon buildup, but that's typical. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to compare them to the new spark plug that I got, and just make sure that they are the correct size. So let's head over to the workbench and take a look. Okay, I got the old and new spark plug side by side, and just have to make sure that they are the right length, the right width, and the correct gap. That's especially important. If you want to know what gap size you need, you check the owner's manual. But these look exactly the same, so that means we can continue on to the next step, which is to apply some dielectric grease. So like I say, you can get these for $1 at the auto parts store. So I'm gonna open this up. Now for this, we're going to apply this on the ceramic, the white part of the spark plug. This is to ensure that you keep the moisture out, so it keeps this electrical connection. So we're going to squeeze out just a little bit of grease on there. Remember, you want a thin layer on it, so we're going to rub it all the way around. Rub it all the way around the spark plug. Just make sure it doesn't touch any of the electrical connections. Yeah, you don't want this on the threads. Yeah, all you need is a thin coat. Okay. So we got that on the spark plug. Now we can take this out and put it in. Now before I continue on, there is one more thing I need to address, and this might apply, and that is if you need anti-seize. Well, that really depends. There are some spark plugs that say do not use anti-seize because you'll over torque it and strip the threads. So be sure to check with the manufacturer and see what they recommend. In this case, I'm using NGK spark plugs, so we do not need anti-seize on them. And because that they use a coating on the outside that does that job. So what we're going to do first is that I got this on the extension bar, but I don't have it on the wrench yet. We're going to tighten this in by hand first. So we're going to hand tighten this first. And if you feel resistance, pull back, reverse it, and then try again. You definitely do not want to cross thread these. So once you get hand tight, which I should be any minute now. Yep, that is hand tight. All right, now I'm gonna go get the torque wrench. I'll be right back. Now again, this one you have to look at the specs for your manufacturer, or the sometimes the manufacturer of the spark plug. So now this is the first time I'm showing this to you. We got our torque wrench out here, and before I do this, I got to show you how this works. This is a click type torque wrench, and basically you're torquing down the screws or whatever into a certain spec measured over here in foot-pounds. Now to put this on a particular spec, you're going to use this gauge here. This one does have foot-pounds, or if you're using metric, in kilos. But we use foot-pounds over here, so that's what I'm going to use. Now this little gauge here, you got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, all the way up the scale, and the first digit is marked on here. So you're going to twist this up until you find the correct spec. In this case, I had to do some research, and my My manufacturer says I should put this to 18 foot-pounds, so that's what we're going to do. Now we're going to twist this cap just to make sure it doesn't move anywhere. Now we're going to attach this to the extension bar. Now we're going to torque it down. We're going to do this until we hear a click. And there's that click, which means that we've torqued it down. All right, so now we're going to put that first boot back on. So let me set everything down real quick. All right, and if you want, sometimes people recommend this. You can also put anti or not ACs, dielectric grease inside the boot as well to help ensure the connection. I've already placed it on the spark plug, so we're gonna push this down until it fits in there, and then I'm first gonna hand tighten this. And then once I get done with this first boot, I'm going to remove boot number 3 so that we have some room to work on the second spark plug. All right, now we're going to now in this case here, we are going to just hand tighten that little bolt there. Yeah, there's no need to torque this one down. Okay. And do not put up the electrical connection just yet. We'll do that when we are done changing out the spark plugs. Okay, so now we got one spark plug change. I'm going to work on the other 3, and I'll see you guys in just a minute. Okay, all of the spark plugs have been changed, and now we just got to close everything back up. So I need to get first the noise canceling foam and then the plastic cover. I'll be right back. One thing I almost forgot, make sure you reconnect the electrical connections and make sure they are locked. Okay, the engine is back together. So we are all done, and the next thing we need to do is do a test run. So let me put everything away and we'll go out for a ride. Okay, so did we successfully change the spark plugs? This button will have our answer. So hopefully I did everything correctly. Let's start it up and see. Yes! It may be frustrating, but it sure is rewarding once you do it right. But we are not done yet. We still need to take this out for a ride and see how it runs. So we're gonna go out on the road and see what we got. Okay, so what we are looking for, we're looking for kind of knocking any kind of any rough acceleration, anything that would signal that the spark plugs were not placed correctly. So far, going out of my neighborhood, and so far everything's looking smooth. But the real test will be on the highway. There's a highway right next to me. In fact, we live right next to the highway. So we're going to drive up there and see how it runs at full speed. All right, here we go. So far, so good. We want to try to get up to 60 miles an hour. Make sure it's all good. Yep, I don't hear anything rough. Everything sounds normal. So I call that a successful spark plug change. All right, so made some mistakes along the way, but we got it done. All right, so thanks for joining in, and I'm going to drive a little more. I'll see you guys a little later.